Welcome to the Local Business Show. Seth Green is a nationally recognized marketer who is the nation's foremost authority on growing local businesses through direct response marketing podcasts, and the only person to be nominated 3 times for the GKIC Dan Kennedy Marketer of the Year Award. Seth will be joined by a capable cohort of co-hosts who are each local business marketing experts in their own right. On the podcast, Seth and his co-hosts brings together small business owners and other local business authorities to share with you their inspiring stories of how they started their local business, how they serve their local business clients, how they grow their local business, and how you can too. And now, here's your host.
Hello and welcome to the Local Business Show podcast, where we bring together some of the best local business minds. My name is Jay MacFarland, and I work with Les's Results Pathfinder team at Umbrella Local. Les's team works with accounting and bookkeeping professionals. Now, today I'm pleased to introduce you to Jordan Goldman. He is the CEO and founding member of Prime Ledger. I can't wait for you to hear his story about why he chose accounting and why he decided to focus just on small businesses. And you're going to love to hear how he looks at each client and why he provides them such a high level of customer service. All right, Jordan, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you decided to head into this particular field.
Yeah, definitely. So I am a CPA. I have about 10 years of public accounting experience before ultimately deciding to go out and do my own thing. My background is really in auditing. So I've worked at companies like Ernst Young, Baker Tilly, Cohn-Resnick, doing, public accounting audits for large to mid-sized companies. And really what brought me to doing what I do which is helping streamline operations for small businesses and entrepreneurs, is that I was able to marry, my auditing background with sort of my entrepreneurial background that I've grown up with. See, my father and my grandfather are both entrepreneurs. My grandfather came to this country and started his own, retail business, selling discount variety stuff at stores. And then my father joined him afterwards. And basically what I was able to do is always hear, I used to go to work with my dad, I used to go to work with my grandfather, helping them out with different things. And I sort of also saw the things that they were always mad about their accountant with, right? Things that they wish they were able to get. And I more or less married the two, right? I gave my big business background with high-level accounting, things like that. And so there was a need in the small business area for something like that, right? Like a lot of the attention, a lot of the hand-holding, a lot of the, don't worry, we got it for you, that small businesses need, especially when they're talking about the accounting and operations, right? A lot of small businesses aren't really equipped enough or don't have the background to understand how to do proper accounting and, manage all the different systems they have going for it. So one of the things that me and my team do is we go in, we basically revamp the whole back office, bring it to the 21st century, make it all virtual, streamline processes, make sure it's all automated. And then we go ahead and we manage that for you. So we're basically your whole back office. And then we have monthly calls where we go over the financials and talk about things to improve, look at variance analysis, KPIs, different things like that. So it really sets up the business for growth, which is ultimately what we want to do.
Right. I'm curious, when did you know you wanted to be an accountant? Is this like when you were 5 years old and people said, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a doctor, and you said, I want to be an accountant? How did that work
I'm still not sure. But when I first got to college, I was actually pre-med. I was doing that for a year and a half. I was actually pretty good at it too. But, if you know anything about pre-med or even doctors, they're in school for what seems like forever.
Yeah.
I have friends and they're still in school. They're still working. So it's a lot. And I didn't want to really do that. And because of the way I grew up, as I said earlier, with a business mindset, I always thought that's the way I wanted to do it. But my Jewish grandparents were always like, be a doctor. So I was like, okay, let's try it out. And it wasn't really for me. So business really drew to me. I was always good at the math classes, things like that. And, I love being inside the ins and out of the businesses, which is what accounting really gives you. And that's how I ultimately decided to, go with accounting and not any of the other business majors that there are.
Did your family accept the choice to not go to medical school?
Yes, they were okay with it. They were a little upset I wasn't going to be a doctor, but I think they're okay with it now.
Fantastic. Listen, I love this focus that you have on small business and entrepreneurs. I've always felt, especially the mom and pops and everybody else, they don't have access to the larger resources that the corporations do. And I think because of that, a lot of them feel like they have to go it on their own because they simply can't afford to bring in a professional. So do you experience that mentality a lot? Like people are like, I'd love to use you, but we're a small op here. We just can't afford it.
Right. And that's honestly a great question. I'm so happy you brought it up. The answer is that does come up a lot, but sort of how I built my company and model is that we're extremely affordable. We're probably a quarter to half the price of if you would hire your own full-time accountant or your own full-time bookkeeper, right? So we're coming in at half the price. But the reason why we can is because of the way we streamline operations when we first come in there and make sure processes are running smoothly. We built a good infrastructure here at Prime Ledger where we have a lot of team where, we're proud to be a team-based firm. So, we hire different people based on the client verticals and things like that. So we really want to make sure we put the client first. And because of that reason, I knew how important it is for small businesses to be cost conscious. A lot of the times you have bookkeepers and accountants in small businesses who aren't always sure the right way to do different types of accountings. But one of the biggest things I've noticed is they don't have resources to go back to. They don't have someone they could bounce ideas off of questions. And that's really why I want to build a team-based model is because, I want there to be an open line of communication where my team and I internally can ask each other questions and figure out the answers. And that's the best way to go ahead and make sure the client has success and growth.
Yeah, it's really good. Is it a subscription model? It's a
subscription-based model. No, it's a monthly. So it's a monthly subscription. Cancel anytime if you're not happy. I always like to talk about it and try and figure out why. Typically, they are happy, of course. But it's a subscription-based model. It's ever-changing, so it goes along the scope of the project. Let's say the client grows and, expanded and needs more business services. We're always there to support them. We always have resources at our hands that could, help you grow your business. So that's one of the biggest takeaways.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say I'm a brand new business person. I'm just getting started. Jordan, what would you tell me that you can benefit me? What is it that I need from you that can help me better run my business?
Right. Well, the first question I'd ask is what's important to you, right? What are your goals in the next 3 to 5 years, even the next 1 year, right? What are you looking to do? Do you want to sell the business eventually, or do you just want to keep it in the family and grow it and grow it and grow it, right? And then I'll ask more types of details, right? Like tell me about your services or your products that you're selling, right? Tell me how you're doing payroll. Tell me how you're sending bills out. Tell me how you're paying bills. Tell me what your accounting system is, right? Talk to me about the business. I want to know how it runs. And then essentially what I do is I take notes, I make sure everything is going okay, and I'll look at it holistically. And then from standpoint, I'll put together a bunch of, products and services and see how we can all marry it. See how we can make everything integrated together. That's why there's less room for error, less manual mistakes happening, and we're just all pretty much automated where my team and I have to do, just a few touch-ups here and there to make sure everything's being dropped into the right categories and your P&Ls, your balance sheet, your cash flows, your KPIs are all looking like the way they should and could, give you good and accurate information into your business.
So that's a great starting point. I love that you get to know the client and their goals. So you're definitely not a cookie cutter, right? You're not.
No, definitely not. No, we don't have it. It's really built per client. It's an extensive onboarding process. Usually at least 30 days where we're having like at least monthly, a couple of calls a week when we're onboarding, introducing ourselves to not only the business owners, but also the team members that we're going to be working with, right? So that's really important. And especially if we're actually sending out the invoices. So if we're billing the client's customers, we're helping pay the client's bills through our virtual bill pay services, right? We really want to understand not only the client, but also their vendors, who they're working with, right? So we really build a holistic approach. And, we are a part of your team. Like I always tell my clients, we are a part of your team. Look at us as your back office. Look at us as your accountants. Look at us as if you would look any of your bookkeepers or tax professionals or HR and payroll things, right? We are an extension of your team. Email us like you would any member of your team. We're here to support you. So please let us do that.
So you're really full service. I mean, if you'll handle invoicing, some payroll I would expect from accountants. I don't often think of my own invoicing for accountants. I think that's my role.
Right.
What other types of services do you provide in that regard?
Well, invoicing is a very good one, right? Because a lot of the times people aren't sure. They forget to invoice, right? They're like, oh, do this, do that, or it's not as streamlined. A lot of times they're taking checks in, or they're sending invoices to like Word docs or paper, and it's very hard to keep track of everything. So my main source that I use is really QuickBooks Online. But we could use other couple of softwares depending on what the client needs. But we just figure out a way to streamline those processes, automate the invoice process. Maybe we do it weekly, monthly, even daily, depending on the client's needs. But we'll have a process where we could really see the whole like outstanding accounts receivable, anything like that. We do a lot of virtual bill pay for our clients. They love that, where essentially they send us invoices or bills, whatever they get, and we put it into the system where all they have to do is simply go online and just press approve and the payments go out. And they could go out through ACH, they could go out via check, they could go out however the clients want. But it just makes it a lot more transparent. Even for the vendors, where the vendors aren't asking you, hey, when am I getting paid? When am I getting paid? They have a portal. They could just go in and check it out. And it really just streamlines that whole process. It also reconciles with my accounting systems. So the whole process is pretty seamless.
Well, I love that because, as a business, I would like to focus mostly on what I do,
Exactly. Who doesn't, right?
Right. But so much of business, like you don't realize if you're going to be a doctor, you're also setting up a business. You have to run a front office, a back office. If you're a lawyer, same thing. If you're a pizza business, whatever, you're not just making the product. So much time is dedicated to the stuff that you do. So I love that I could hand that to you and then I worry about my business.
Exactly. That's what we always try and say, let the business owners focus on what you're doing, right? Growing the business, making sure everything's in place, making sure your people are doing what they need to do, and don't even think twice about the accounting functions. Every month we'll hop on the phone call. We'll go over the business. We'll walk through your cash flows, your profit and loss. We'll walk through everything. And we'll, if we see some rooms for improvement, we'll be happy to suggest that. We want to make sure that you grow. We're part of your team. We're part of your business. So your success is our success. Your growth is our growth. And that's really how we look at it.
Are there a lot of accounting firms like yours that focus on small businesses?
There are a lot of accountants that focus on small business. The problem is that there's not a lot of companies that do it, right? So you could get a bookkeeper or an accountant that'll manage your business. But the problem is as they grow, they give less focus to you and your business because they have more clients, right? So if they have just one client, it's easy, but they have 10 clients, it's a lot harder. And then if you're trying to grow, you're giving that accountant more work. They're trying to grow their business. You're trying to grow yours. It's a lot of moving pieces. So I typically see that a lot of bookkeepers or accountants, if they're just a one-person shop, they, either stick to their few clients that they have, or they sort of like lose focus on the bigger picture with the clients. And there are a few other companies that are trying to do it. I don't know how successful they are. I don't really keep in touch with them or keep tabs. I'm just focused on me, what my business could do for the business owners, how we could help. And, we get a lot of referrals like that. So thankfully, I think it's going well.
Well, that's exciting. Are you just focused in the New York City area, or do you have clients?
No, one of the beauties of my firm is that it is virtual, right? Like I have people that help me out, that work for me, that are part of the Prime Ledger team, that work all across the country, some even different parts of the world. Part of what I do is we have calls at least weekly, but we're in touch all the time using different types of technologies, right? We have Microsoft Teams. We have a lot of portals that we use for our clients. So my team and I could pretty much work from anywhere. And given the remote age, and especially after COVID, a lot of people are now more comfortable with their accounts or with having people who work remotely and don't ever need to set foot in the office. And given that my business is really about streamlining operations and making sure everything runs smoothly and accurate reporting, we don't really need to be in an office if we're automating everything, right? We want to get rid of paper. We want to get rid of that clutter. We want to make it easier for the business owners to, operate without having so much going on.
Right. And get rid of that duplication of effort as well.
All the redundancies.
Yes, absolutely. So you mentioned COVID and the pandemic. How did it impact your business, and how did it change your business and how you operate?
It impacted my business for the better, I think. Like I mentioned before, people are more open to Zoom, right? I'm on I can't even count how many Zoom calls a week I'm on. but it's great. It still gives us the personal touch. It also saves everyone time because now the client doesn't have to worry about me coming to their office and they're setting up a side, right? We can always just hop on a quick Zoom. I email things, I have automated reports. So it really does help out a lot. And, the people are open to it because they don't have to worry about spending money, putting an office aside for me or my team, right? Or spending that extra type of cash. We do everything via Zoom. There's no need to even rent conference rooms or, pay any of that extra stuff. So, on top of it being convenient, we're also being able to help the client's bottom line.
Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to who have said the pandemic actually made us better as a business. They made us more efficient. We had to change our systems. We can now meet online. We don't have as much office space. I think it's remarkable how people responded. And you've seen that in your business. Have you seen that also with your clientele?
Yes, I definitely have. I think that a lot of people are excited about it. Some businesses are definitely nervous. Some are worried about the transition. They're worried about upgrading all their systems. Change could be a scary thing, especially if you've been doing something. The newer businesses that are around for maybe like 1 to 5 years aren't that nervous. They're really more open to change. But if you've an established business that's been running for 25 years and you are doing well, it's a pretty scary thing to have to revamp all your stuff or redo some things, even trying to automate processes, right? If it's ain't broke, don't fix it type mentality. But then at the same time, it's stopping them from growing and becoming a better version of themselves.
Yeah, and I'm really curious. So you probably typically get the same type of questions and because business owners face the same thing. How did those questions change during the pandemic? Because my bet is now it's not about day-to-day operations. Is like, how am I going to pay these bills? How am I going to keep these people on the staff? How am I going to apply for the government programs,
for loans,
those types of things?
Loans, yeah. No, that's a fair question. Those have changed, but really what we're telling them is, use me and my team. We're here to help you. If you have a question, if you're worried about something, let's hop on a call. Let's talk about it, right? Let's figure it out. What are you nervous? What's driving the force behind it, right? And what do you think needs to be done to fix it? Or, let's talk about it. Let's see. Maybe you're spending too much money here maybe you're spending too much money on marketing or the wrong type of marketing, right? Let's say he was doing a lot of event marketing. That's obviously not the case anymore. People aren't going to as many events. Maybe let's redirect those marketing dollars to social media and put a little bit less into social media, maybe put more in payroll if we need to, and try and move money around like that, right? Try and reallocate expenses. And then in terms of different loans and things, I work with a lot of partners. So let's say me and my team can't do something. I have a lot of partners in different areas of expertise that could definitely point you in the right direction. Because like I said, we're all on the same team. So if you need help and if I can't do it, I'll make sure that I'll get you someone who does. So that includes applying for forgiveness for the loans and helping out with the PPP and EIDLs and all those other things that you need, right? We're going to support you and we're going to make sure it's done. And we're going to make sure it's recorded right in your book. So that way, when you see it, you know exactly what's happening.
What would you, if I was just starting out brand new, best piece of advice from everything you've seen, all the years you've worked with small businesses, best piece of advice you could give me?
Oh, man. Hire Prime Ledger, probably. The best piece of advice is probably stay organized. It's easy to get disorganized when you're, especially as a business owner, when your mind is going a million different directions at a time, right? It's very, very important to have a workflow system in place to make sure that when you do bring on people, right, you want to make sure that you could scale it. You want to make sure you could grow it. And the key of that is organization, especially, come tax time at the end of the year when you have to get all your stuff together for your accountant. Or even if you just want to see how you're progressing or, insurance reasons, this, that, it's always very, very important to stay organized. I would say that that's the number one thing to focus on as a small business owner, any type of business owner getting ready to get started.
From day one, organization.
Yeah, I think it's the most important, knowing where everything is, knowing where everything's going. If you could have an oversight of everything, it's really great. My team uses a system called ClickUp. If you're not familiar with it, it's similar to Asana, Monday.com, Trello, those types of workflows where I could go in and see where all my clients are at any time, where all my people are working on at any time. So my team and I are always prepared and always get ready to give a client an answer for whenever they need it.
Very good. I'm curious, back to your business, what are the biggest challenges you guys have faced, like looking back? What were the big obstacles to get to where you're at today?
Definitely. I think one of the biggest obstacles is human resources in general, right? You want to build a good team, a team that you could trust, a team that you could rely on. So those are one of the hardest things. But, thank goodness we worked hard and we are in a great place now. All the team members are great. Everyone's operating the way they should. And we're really finding value in that. But yeah, I mean, I got to always go back to organization. It's just so important.
Yeah, I'm curious about the hiring crisis going on across the country right now. How is that impacting your business and how is it impacting your clients?
For my clients, it really depends on their industry, right? The restaurant industry, the logistics industry, those are typically being harder to find skilled laborers. But when you're talking about service industries and things like that, that typically is a little bit easier. I really find that if people could work from home, and like you can in service industry jobs a lot of the time, the people are more inclined to help you out and, you could get work a little bit easier. But when you're doing the service industries where you have to be in present, your pool of where you can find people is a lot smaller. So that's a big challenge for a lot of my people right now, a lot of my clients right now. But they're getting through it. They're finding it. Sometimes they're pulling in friends and family to help out. But luckily they're getting through it. And it's nice to see, people are coming together. And I think it's only getting better, hopefully, from here.
Yeah, I hope you're right. Getting back to your business, how do you guys get new clients? Do you market? Is it mostly word of mouth?
Right. So that's a fair question. Especially when I first started, I was hustling. I'm waking up really early, going to bed at night. I'm running to networking events when I can, anything that opens up. But I'm also, on job sites looking at who I could email. So maybe they need some help. If I see they're looking for an accountant, a full-time accountant, I'll be like, hey, check us out. We could probably help you out the same way, if not better. But now that I'm a little bit more established, I get a lot more referrals. Like I said, I like to speak for my work. My work speaks for itself. And the clients are receptive to it. We're actually helping change their businesses. We're helping change their lives. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And they appreciate it. So they go tell their friends and the work is just coming in. So thankfully, that's been a great source for us. Like I said, we're a team first. We're all on the same team here. So the clients appreciate that.
Well, it really speaks to your model and the level of service that you provide that you get that amount of new business from referrals, right? That's how you're doing something right.
That's exactly it. Like when I'm building this, I'm just client-focused, client-centric. Again, it goes back to my family, right? How would I want my dad's business to be taken care of? How would I want him to be handled as a client? What would bother him? What would make him upset? How well does he want to be prepared for everything? And that's sort of how I treat every client, right? As if they're family, to make sure that they're taken care of. If they have a question, we answer very, very quick. And if not, if we don't have the answer, we acknowledge it, right? It's always important to acknowledge things and say, hey, we're not sure. We'll get back to you soon. But that's really how I look at it. That's how I look at my clients. That's how I look at my customers as family. How would they want to be taken care of? And that's how I try and do it. So we're very, very client first.
That's awesome. I'm curious, what is your favorite part about your job? Favorite part?
Being a business owner is pretty cool in general. But honestly, the favorite part of my job, and I tell this to my wife all the time, is just getting those emails from my clients saying, thank you so much. Thank you for helping me turn things around. Thank you for helping me do this. I never thought I'd be able to get, someone of your skill or, team members like you to help me out. So, I'm so grateful. And whenever I get calls like that or I see those referrals come in, that's the really rewarding part because I'm only getting a referral because my team and I did a good job, right? So that's always what makes me feel good. And that's what helps me going.
Least favorite?
Least favorite.
That's trickier.
Probably also the same answer, being a business owner. It's a lot, it's a lot, but it's so great. I don't really have least favorites. Honestly, once I did this, I could never see myself going back to doing anything else. I am so happy to be here, but it is a lot of hard work and it's a lot of hustling. but it's worth it at the end of the day to see the rewards. So
Well, yeah, I
I don't
can
really
tell
have
you
any
have a
negative
huge
things to say
passion
about
for
it.
it.
Exactly. I don't really have any negative to say. I'm super happy with everything I am doing.
What about your outside life? What do you do? Do you have hobbies? What do you do in your
Yes.
spare time?
That's a good question. Outside life. Well, before COVID, I used to love to travel, as I'm sure a lot of other people did. I have a really core group of friends from high school that I've grown up with that I love from back in the day. And typically we always, we watch sports together. I'm in a basketball league. I play that. I'm a big guy. You probably can't see from the phone, but from the computer, I'm 6'5", so I like to play a lot of
Wow.
basketball. Yeah. So, and, just spending time with my family whenever I can. I see them quite often. We're very close. We're all in the New York area, within like a half-hour drive from each other, including my friends. So we see each other all the time. But nothing that crazy, Sometimes I think I'm a little boring, but it's okay,
You
It
don't
makes
say
me
boring
happy.
to me.
That's what matters.
It sounds like you have a lot going on. What you mentioned New York. What is your relationship with New York? I mean, is this you
Oh
going to
my
be there
God.
forever?
I was born and raised here. I was born in Long Island, went to school, went to college in SUNY Albany. Then after college, I got my master's from Queens College in New York, so another New York thing. And then after that, I lived in Manhattan for about 10 years, 9 years until the pandemic. And then I moved back to Long Island. So I'm a big New Yorker. I lived in a bunch of areas. Even when I lived in Manhattan, I lived in a bunch of areas around the city too. So my roots are pretty deep here.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, especially with all your family and friends around you, doesn't sound like you're going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think so. I think I'm here to stay. But I also love it. I mean, I always say this, but New York City, there's no place like it. It's definitely one of my favorite places in the world. I love it.
That's very good. All right. So tell me, if somebody wants to use your services, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, there's a few ways. They could just go onto my website at prime-ledger.com, and we have a couple of contact us forms where they could fill out. Or anyone could just feel free to email me at info@prime-ledger.com, or you could shoot me an email directly at jordan.goldman@prime-ledger.com. And those are a lot of the ways to contact me. But you know what? I have a social media presence, so they could find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Prime Ledger US. Shoot me a message through there. Like I said, I'm virtual, so I'm really everywhere you want me to be. You can find me.
Well, I love that. As I said, I can tell you have an incredible passion for what you do. You love it. And I can tell that really shines through. And it just makes so much good sense to me for somebody to have a partner in their journey. And again, no need to reinvent the wheel, right? When there's somebody
Right.
like you just waiting in the wings to help them out.
Exactly. We'll provide all the support you need to make sure you get started the right way. And we're going to be here to grow with you, whether you have one employee or 500 to 1,000 employees. We can help you out, and we're going to grow with you. So I've seen a lot of my clients I've grown with already, where we're growing with them. We're bringing on more people onto our teams with them, and it's crazy, but it's awesome too.
That's very cool. Listen, Jordan, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure here as well.
Once again, I want to thank Jordan for joining us today. I love how he asks himself this question with every client: how would his family want to be treated? And he treats them with that level of customer service. I think that's just a great way to look at life. And you can really sense his passion for what he does. And I know he provides a great product and service for the small businesses that he works with. So if you need accounting services, bookkeeping, invoicing, give Jordan a call and start that process. Again, my name is Jay MacFarland. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Local Business Show podcast.